Welcome back everyone, and here complement of the season. This is how today's video is going to go. We're going to start with the COT data, and then I'm going to discuss my open position. Apologies, I'm just coming back. I've been busy. I've been up and down just like everywhere this time. So this is the first time I'll actually be making a video this month. So it's been a minute. So welcome back. And yes, so we're going to be kicking off with the COT data. I'm going to start with, then we're going to jump into my open trades, my open positions, which I share with all my folks, okay, people that are in my mentorship group, and I also share a few on my free Telegram channel. So if you want access to that, the links are in my bio. So moving forward, then we're going to talk about the top setup on Edgefinder right here. And after that, we're going to jump into, trade recommendations if you're interested in picking trade with me. And that will be that for today. So without further ado, let's start with the COT net position and how the institution are still planning to pick some trades. So we're going to start with the net positioning first off, and you can see right here we have these three assets still hovering below 20%. Okay, right there you can see that they're still hovering below 20%. We have CHF, okay, we have Swiss francs, we have CAD, we have NZD, and we have Aussie dollar. All right, all of them are below 25%. As a matter of fact, they're below 20%. As far as I'm concerned. But we have CHL being shorted majorly by these institutions, followed by CAD. And then if you look at this region right here, we have South African rand, silver, gold, and yen being bought massively by institutions. And that is speaking a whole lot of things, okay? That is signaling that institutions are really and heavily loaded on these particular assets, silver, gold, and yen. Okay, I mean Japanese yen. Also South African rands. I don't really know how institutions are really buying South African rands per se, because I'm not really in tune with the South African economy per se. But we can see right here institutions are really holding a long position on South African rand. However, Japanese yen is really interesting to look at right now. Before we take a deeper dive into the COT, let's take a look at what the institutions were really into this last month. This last week, excuse me. So you can see CAD right here. Despite the fact that it's all looking, blurry on the net position, you can see they actually had some long open and a chunk of their short contract being closed right there. Okay, which still leave the whole thing as the net long is still 4.58% and the net short still remains at 3%. Okay, so that is still right there. Okay, but at the end of the, excuse me, that's not the right thing. The net long is 15%. And the net short is 84%. Permit me for that. Okay, so that is still very decent for short position. Okay, and when we take a look at asset like NZD right here, you also notice that there is net long. There's long contract that were open on Friday, and a chunk of their short contract were also closed. We still left the long contract at 17.31% and 82.69% for short contract. But when you take a look at the Japanese yen, something really decent is going on right there. Okay, both short and long contracts were open. We have 26,705 short contracts open. The same thing with the long contract. We have 22,005 new long contracts. They were open. So we still left the short contract at 11% and the long contract at 88%. Quite decent, right? Lastly, we're going to talk about the Swiss, and then we're going to talk about USD, and then we'll wrap it up for today. On CHF right here, you notice that we have 932 long contract were being open, and like 761 short contract were closed. So you notice that for CAD, for Swiss, and for NZD, new long contracts were opened across board. Okay, new long contracts were open across board, and a few of their short contracts, aside CAD, which a chunk load of their short contract were closed. Okay, you can see that just a bit of their short contract was closed. When it comes to NZD, Swiss franc, and which other one is that? If you look at Euro also, and let's just talk about Euro. You see that a chunk of they open a new long contract and they close a chunk of their short contract as well. If you actually take a look at all these assets in general, you notice that majority of them actually close some short and they open a long, aside the United States. Okay, only United States added a few long contracts, and a chunk of short contracts was also open, which left the net long at 53% and the net short as was at almost 47%. You can see right here we have 46.91%. So if you ask me in particular, okay, or personally, I would say that if you look at the net position right here, we still have Swiss, CAD, NZD, and Australian dollar. All of them are still very, very weak, in my opinion. And we have silver, gold, and Japanese yen. All of them are still pretty, the three of them are still pretty strong based on the data we have right here. Although last Friday there were some changes, there were some, some reductions, some addition in the positioning, which is quite decent. But at the end of the day, we still have to focus on what we have right now, which is still very decent. So let's talk about Edge Finder top setup before we actually jump straight into today's video properly. The technical part, which is we have NZD cards, which made bullish. All right, Euro dollar also bullish, gold, NZD, USD, Euro, Aussie. We have Bitcoin also pretty bullish. We're going to talk about Bitcoin today. We have pound dollar, we have Aussie dollar, we have Euro card and Aussie card. All of them pretty bullish. Okay, from 5 to 8. Okay, and then right here we have CAD yen. Don't forget I said I'm looking for a short position CAD yen, which is going to be one of my trade recommendations. We have USD JPY. I took a very decent short trade on USD JPY, I think in March, which I shared with every one of you, and me and my guys, we made a very good, decent profit on USD JPY. USCHF, I'm counter trending this one. I'm actually taking a buy right now. Despite the fact that it's bullish, excuse me, it's bearish right there. I'm taking a counter trend. I'm going to discuss that. It is not a general kind of acceptable trade. Well, I just feel like let me just take the trade. We'll pull back decently. I will close the trade and I will look for more short opportunity moving forward. So those are the top setup on Edgefinder right here. So let's take a look at the technicals, and we're going to start with DXY, which is the dollar index to begin with. So right here on DXY, this is the daily time frame, don't forget. We have a pretty decent weak United States dollar right now. And in the near term, we might end up seeing a further decline in the price of dollar, okay, even without a decent pullback. However, you can even notice my trade recommendations for the past 3 weeks, 3 months right now. You see that I lean towards the yen pairs and I move gradually away from the dollar pair because of the tariff saga, because of the inconsistency in the price of dollar index, and some other disturbances in the market right now. Some other scrupulous things, because Trump keeps talking, the Chinese president also keeps talking. So, and in all these talks, all this conversation disrupt the market piece, and I don't like that. So I'd rather just stay away from the yen, from the dollar and from the dollar pair in general, and just focus on the minor pairs, okay, the crosses, the yen pair, the Aussie pairs, and the rest without the dollar, okay. So that's what I've been doing so far. But if you ask me, what is my bias on dollar index? For me to have a very precise bias that I can trade, in particular, first up, I've got to see a nice and decent pullback, okay, all the way from this top right here. We've got to see a very interesting pullback to this region right here, 50% Fibonacci to say the least. I'm not sure how decent this is going to happen because of the trade war that is going on right now. But for me to be rest assured on the next move on DXY, I've got to see this pullback. Without this pullback, I'm definitely not going to take the trade at all. All right. I'm going to take a trade, maybe a counter trade, maybe a scalping kind of trade or a day trading. But if I'm going to swing this, it has to do a pullback first up, which is exactly what I'm anticipating for, and the reason why I'm currently buying USDC, which I'm going to share as time goes on. So now let's go to my open position. First off, I have silver trade closed last week, okay, which is Friday. Okay, I put my trading stop right below here, okay, right below this daily candle, and it got me tapped out right there. Now, what is the next plan? Silver is still very bullish. I'm very, very much interested in buying silver. So I will simply wait for a nice and decent pullback, maybe to this region, and then I'll see if I can long it again. Okay. So first up, I need to see the pullback before anything. Okay. So silver, I'm still pretty decent on the bullish momentum, and I want to back. When stuff is happening over the world, when there is uncertainty over the world, all around the globe, that's when you see gold and silver actually make some very crazy move. And we've seen that happen over the past couple of days. Okay. So there's no argument on that. Pound card, I've been buying pound card since last week as well. That really made a very decent move since I took the trade. As you can see, I took the trade after the pullback to this region. It touched 61.3 Fibonacci, and I actually waited long enough on the 4-hour time frame. That's when I took the trade right here. I also have the same thing on pound, GBP, and ZD. Okay, I have the same thing on pound Q. Okay, I want to go for buy opportunity, but right now there's no show on Edgefinder for a possible buy opportunity on pound Q. Okay, based on I don't just pick a trade because I want to pick a trade. I don't just do technicals. I have to consider so many things, and one of the things is what I see on Edgefinder's Edgefinder reading. Okay, especially if I'm going to long the trade as a swing trading. If I'm going to take the trade as a swing trading, then it has to come correct on Edgefinder as well. So if I don't find it, or it's not here, I'm not going to go for that trade. So as far as pound NZD is concerned, as you can see right here, it's still reading -2, which signal neutral, and that is the reason why I'm still holding off on it for now. Okay, but as time goes on, if anything changes before Wednesday, I'm gonna chip you in and I'll let you know how it's going. So this is Swiss JPY. I took a short trade from the top right here since last week, Monday or Tuesday. I can't really remember. I think it's Tuesday. So I took a short trade right here. It looks quite decent, and I just wanted to come to this region before I knew what to do for. Am I gonna buy? Because the same even attribute of Switzerland, I mean Swiss franc, is actually coming to play right now. The same thing with Japanese yen. Okay, because if you look at the currency that have been pretty strong this past 2 weeks, okay, you see that Swiss and yen has been consistently strong. Okay, and when you have a very strong currency paired together, you want to be careful. You don't want to rush into any of them. That's why I actually took a short trade. Okay, the counter trend trade is going through right now slowly. I want to see if we can come to this region before I look for buy opportunity. I was going to break below here, and then I would hold on to the short position and see if I can hold it off up until it comes to 165 region. Okay, that is the plan of Swiss yen. So I'm holding that. NZD JPY, I took this trade on Wednesday. Okay, it's actually acted a bit harsh on Thursday, but on Friday, which was Easter Friday, we saw that the market made a bit of it sold a bit of the loss that was acquired on Friday. Okay, on Thursday, excuse me. So the trade is still open, is in a bit of a drawdown, but so far so good. It looks pretty decent, so I'm gonna hold on to it. And I have a very decent setup on Edgefinder on Wednesday when I took the trade, but right now the price seems to have disappeared, which is still up. It's all fine and good. Okay, the setup looks pretty decent. The pullback was nice, and I just want to hold on to this for as long as possible. Okay, Aussie yen. Also, I took a short trade. Don't forget, we have Aussie, we have Kiwi, we have Swede, we have CAD, all being heavily shorted by institutions. Don't forget what I said all the time. All right. So when you have stuff like that, you want to really, really take advantage of it. Okay. One thing about COT data is that you don't just trade them. This is what I'm talking about. We have Swede, we have CAD, we have Kiwi, we have Aussie. All of them staying below 20% right here, meaning they are heavily being shorted by the smart money. Okay. So when you have asset like when you have information like this, they are not tradable. But you have to incorporate them with your technicals, with all the things to make a great decision. Okay, because the CHF being shorted right now doesn't mean you should go and start selling CHF everywhere you say it might not end well. Okay, so that's just that on that note. So let's move on to the next one, which is going to be USD CHF that I said I was looking for. I was taking about. Okay, the other time. So I took a buy somewhere around this region, as you can see right here. It's a very, very, very crazy trade. Okay, and I'm ready to get out of it the moment it comes down to this region. Okay, it's not the kind of trade I'm going to DCA. It's very risky. It's not trend trading. It's more like an impulsive counter trend trading. So I'm not going to sit on it for long. But I just want to see how this goes. And the trade is in a very tiny profit right now. Very, very tiny profit. Okay, so we're going to see how it goes. And I'm risking quite little on it. So that is that on the CHF. So those are my trade for my open position. Now let's talk about my trade recommendation before I go. The first trade recommendation is going to be CAD JPY. If you want to take a CAD JPY trade, there are two setups I have right here. They are long position, they are swing position, that's one that long. Okay, so if you want to take this trade, you have to be patient, you have to be ready for it. It's going to take probably a week before you can see a significant profit the moment you get into an entry, or it might take a few days. Okay, so you have to be ready, or you might even run for a month. Okay, I've been shorting CAD JPY since it was right here. I short it here, I short it here, and I took another short right here. And all the short I've taken on CAD yen has been very profitable. Right now, I don't have any trade on this particular pair. But if I see a pullback to this region first up, I wouldn't mind taking a short trade all the way to the downside. That's number one. The second part is if the market breaks below this region right here and the market pullback nice and easy, I wouldn't mind taking another short position right there. Okay, those are my two positions. Those are my two setups on CAD JPY. And you can see right here on Edgefinder is really -5, bearish CAD JPY right here. So that is another reason why it's one of my trade recommendations and one of my trade setup. My second trade recommendation would be AUDCHL, which is Aussie Swiss. As you can see right here, at some point last month, March, I took a short trade around this region, even before the trade, and I closed it somewhere around there. Okay, and I took a buy somewhere around here early this month, and I closed it roughly around this region, which is something I'm trying to do on USDCHF as well, trying to buy from the bottom, see if I can scalp all the way to the top, just to close the pullback. Like I said, it's an impulsive trade. It's not the kind of trade I pick every single day. You get what I'm trying to say? So moving on, I'm looking at to see if AUDCHF can find its way back to the region right here, around 50% to 61.8% Fibonacci. The golden spot ratio. So the golden ratio, excuse me. So if I get the market to that region, I will look into shorting AUDCHF moving forward. And as you can see right here on Edgefinder, you can see Aussie Swiss is also among the top setup. with a bearish reading of -5. All right, so that is that on that. So moving on to the next one, which is gonna be USD JPY. I have a very precise setup on USD JPY, although it is not fully ready yet. As you can see right here, I have two particular setup, okay, that I'm anticipating for. The first one will be a clear and decent pullback to retesting this daily trend line. As you can see, this dynamic resistance region right here. I'm looking to see the market actually come back to retesting this region, which will automatically fall at maybe 50 to 61.8% Fibonacci as well. All right, we're gonna see it. Let me see if I can bring that on board right here. Okay, let me put that there. Okay, as you can see, like I said earlier, 61.8 Fibonacci retracement. Okay, 50% to 61.8, and it's exactly right there. So if I get the market to pull back to this region, I will see if I can short it. That's the first plan. The second plan will be, I want to see the market break below this weekly support right here, this particular region. You can see it's been a region that has been retested multiple times in the past. You can see this is the first time it was retested and used as support. The second time, retested, used as support, and this is the third time to be used as support. Okay, so this is a very precise, interesting zone right here, support zone. Now the plan is, if I can get the market to break below it precisely, pull back nice and decent, okay, I will look into shorting USD JPY all the way down to 130 region right below there. Okay, if that happens to play out, anything outside of that, I will just see this one out and literally that. Don't forget, two serious plan: a pullback to retest this trend line, which coincidentally converge at 50 to 61.8 Fibonacci, or this one, which will be a more subtle one. Okay, moving forward, that's the plan on this JPY. Don't forget, the next trade that I would recommend would be NZD USD, right around there. I'm looking for a nice and decent pullback on Kiwi dollar as well. And as you can see on Edgefinder, right here on Edgefinder, you can see NZD US dollar is reading for what, a precise bullish of 7. Okay, so you can see right here NZD bullish with a score of 7, which is very, very decent and nice. So that is why I'm looking for a very decent pullback again. You can see this is exactly what I was looking for on pound, excuse me, on USD JPY that I just explained earlier. I just analyzed and shared with you earlier. All right, the first thing is I'm looking for pullback to retesting this broken structure right here. This previously used as resistance region, which was also can be called a key zone. You can see right here at some point it was used as support. All right, so considering that, I just want to see a nice and decent pullback to retest in this region, and then I'll take a buy. That's the first setup. The second setup would be for the pullback to be a much different one, back to 50% region, or even 61.8. I won't mind that, okay, to get a more cheaper level to take a buy moving forward. Don't forget, dollar is still pretty weak. All of these trade setup are all heavily loaded or heavily leveraged on the weakness of dollar. If dollar weakness persists longer into June, July, we might get to see NZD actually make it back to this resistance, which is bi-monthly resistance region right there. Okay, and that is the plan on NZD USD. So the last recommendation I'll be sharing today would be on BTC. So let's take a look at Bitcoin. And while we wait for the chart, all right, this is the setup on Bitcoin on Edgefinder. So this is the recommendation. You can see right here, Bitcoin with a bullish bias and a score of 7 right there, which also signal that this is more than 5, more than 6, 7 is a decent bias that I kind of like reckon with on Edgefinder. And you can see Bitcoin has been ranging for like forever. I will even try to see if I can take this to the 4-hour band so we can see it very, very clearly. All right, since the market come roughly to 72,000 region, okay, we've seen Bitcoin actually make a double bottom right here with a very distinctive push to the upside, which decisively break above this daily trend line. The trend line that came all the way from the all-time high that was from around 109K. You can see the market deteriorates very swiftly for about the best part of this year. Honestly, from January, it's been coming down gradually up until now. Okay, up until around the first week of April, when we see the break of this particular trend line, you can see right here. So this is a very big statement for Bitcoin in general. Right? I don't want to say cryptocurrency in general, but let me just say BTC because that's where we are right now. That's what we're analyzing. And you can see this fluid sort of trend that I have right here. The reason why it gets broken so many times is because of the range. When the market is ranging, it sort of just misses a particular trend line up. So I'm not going to consider this trend line per se. So I'm just going to focus on the structures that I have right here. But you can see this is a disparative and a very precise range on Bitcoin. So the plan is to see Bitcoin break above the 86K region. All right, break above it, pull back, and let's hope we can get the market to retest 91,000 region. Okay, this is what I'll be looking forward to take if I can get this trade set up on Bitcoin moving forward. All right, so I'm pretty bullish on Bitcoin for now. All right, until I'm actually very, very bullish overall, unless the market break below 71k. If we get the market to break below 71k, then the next target will be 60,000 region and 50,000 region. All right, before we can get a precise support that would probably act as a strong support that buyers can ride on moving forward. All right, if this region is broken to the downside, the 71k region is broken to the downside like this, I guess we're gonna end up seeing Bitcoin come all the way to 50k before we can get a more bullish risk upside. I hope that never play out, but the market is not a place where you hope or drink or pray or hope for anything. You just have to look at what you see right in front of you and trade it precisely the way it is being presented onto you. So that is that for me today. And yes, I'm going to see you on Wednesday or maybe tomorrow when I'll be sharing some more updates on the trade setup and trade recommendation that I've given you today. On that note, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to follow me on social pages. And I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.